Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis and we are back. This is going to be my top 10 craftable weapons video. And in this one, obviously it's a bunch of opinions of my own, but if you have your thoughts, drop those in the comments. Always curious to hear everybody's thoughts of favorite perks and things of that nature. But when it comes to crafting some of these weapons, I don't love them. Come to pass auto rifle is just not one that's hitting with me yet. I don't like the perks. The slow auto rifles aren't really doing it for me. Pointed inquiry. Some people may like this one. Scout rifles still just don't feel like they have as much of a place. I like bows and other things. And then, of course, you got sidearms. Empirical evidence. It's a sidearm. Some people may love these things in PvP, but I just cannot seem to make these things work for me. So remember, all of this is opinion. That being said, we do have a couple honorable mentions before we get into the actual top 10 here. A couple of them that I did want to point out. One, the Lebray's Ruin. If you do actually do the raid and you get the Solar Glaive, you've got a cool combination of Gravedigger and Swashbuckler. Could actually have some fun since you'll be up close and personal anyway. Also, one that's been putting in some work for me is the Syncopation 53. There are better pulse rifles in here, but this is one of the first like world drops that I got, and it actually still shines pretty well with even just something like Outlaw Headstone or Outlaw Frenzy. It works. And then finally, the Forensic Nightmare. Not going to give a whole lot of love to the submachine gun of this one specifically, but it can get perpetual motion and kill clip, might do some work in PvP. And before we jump into that full top 10, a quick word from our sponsor. And remember, if you guys do want to support me, watch this full ad, click that link in the description, and check out actually a really cool game. Hello, Guardian. Yeah, you watching this video. We've all been there. Passing time online at the DMV, waiting for your host to call your name at a restaurant, or in that little room at the doctor's office where it seems like time no longer exists? Well, you've all been there before, but you know what you have in all those places? Your phone. Why don't you take that out and check out Raid Shadow Legends so you can get started building out your team of champions so next time you're stuck, you can actually escape to the world of Teleria. And you all know we like a good challenge in our games, and Raid is no exception, because the Doom Tower is the epitome of end-game content. Basically, it's a huge prison holding lots of bad guys that's been there for thousands of years. It was only meant to last as long as the Arbiter needed to find a way to get rid of the enemies, but it's still there, and it seems the work isn't done yet. It's up to us to put those nasty creatures back in their cells and fight our way to the very top and face some of the toughest bosses Raid has to offer. Some remove your buffs, while others ignore them entirely. Some drain your champions of their turn, while others need their health lowered before you can even do damage to them. You're really going to have to think outside the box to get all the way to the top of the tower. Honestly though, this game is great. Awesome graphics, over 600 champions you can customize with unique gear and skills, and a huge campaign, and more. But I've talked enough about it. How about you try it? It's the best time to start as a new player in Raid, because if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code on screen, you're going to get $30 worth of bonuses like an Epic Champion Hyena, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard to summon your own epic champion as soon as you log in. All of this will be waiting for you right here. Remember, this is only for the next 30 days, so click that link and you'll be on your way to the top of the Doom Tower in no time. And remember, if you do click that link, it is a nice way to support me as a content creator, so thank you guys for the support, and now back to the video. Alright, so for the remainder of this video, we're going to be at a website called d2gunsmith.com. Very cool website where you can basically like go to a weapon and you can click on any weapon that you see and you can see what the perks are. You can see what the options are, what they do. You can mess with stats. You can see it kind of update real time depending on what it does. So you can see recoil direction, some of these hidden stats that aren't always in the game. So very cool website. That's what we're going to be looking through as we go through this. So link will be in the description if you want to mess around yourself. Definitely recommend this website. It's really, really cool. Now, the number 10 that I'm going to mention, just because I'm trying to also spread around the archetypes that I touch, hence why I like the Syncopation was an honorable mention on mine, but I actually use it a lot. There's better pulse rifles, so I'm trying to mention those as well. But Father Sins for a sniper rifle has actually got some cool options. For PvE, you got triple tap, you've got Focused Fury, you can get an extended mag, and then you can even throw on something, say, like Boss Spec, and you can put out a decent amount of damage with this thing. Now, it is a rapid fire, but with triple tap and 7 in the magazine, you fire 3, you're down to 4, but then you're up to 5. You fire 3, you're down to 2, but then you're back up to 3, and then you can fire 3 more. So if you hit precision with all of those, that is a lot of bullets that you can theoretically fire out in one sniper rifle. And dealing half the magazine as precision damage, which is your entire goal, is going to get you bonus damage. So not a bad PvE option. On the other side, you got PvP. You can either do no distractions, which is going to help if you're going to aim down sights, and you can do opening shots, so just waiting for that one shot to be kind of god tier. You can also theoretically do like field prep, faster reload stow and ready, which is going to give you a little better handling, which is going to be a good thing, and also snapshot sights. So maybe you're sliding into a lane, pull out snapshot sights. If you're one of those crazy skilled snipers, theoretically possible. You can mess with range, you can mess with accuracy and stability, but it's really up to you on the stats over here. But again, you've got some options. Sniper rifles do still need love because things like Arbalist, you've got grenade launchers, you've got linear fusion rifles. A lot of different things are kind of making sniper rifles not have a great place right now. They are pretty good in PvP though, but again, if you prefer snipers in PvE, you can put in some work with this combination of things and still get some decent love out of it. So, wanted to shout out Farther Sins as number 10. Now let's go to number 9. Now, I do have a couple of raid weapons in here, mainly because they do some unique stuff. I'm going to try and mention some alternatives, but Submission is a cool SMG from the raid. This is why it's at number 9. First thing, you've got a recoil direction of 100. Basically, straight up recoil, which is really cool. SMG at 900 RPM, you're going to want some range, so you can get that one crafted. Theoretically, also a good thing. And then from here, you can also go for a couple of different things. If you want to go for range, you can go accurized rounds. And typically, small bore is going to be nice for some stability to keep it in check. But you've got some cool options when it comes to the main 2 traits. You're going for PvP. You literally can do something along the lines of Perpetual Motion and Killing Wind. Get a boost of mobility with a kill, keep running around, faster reload. Nice little synergy going there. You've also got for PvE, Overflow and Frenzy, or Submission and Frenzy. Or Subsistence, I'm sorry, not Submission, but Subsistence and Frenzy, which is one of those things people are trying to get on Funnel Web. You get Subsistence and Swashbuckler, so you can then start stacking that damage up and really stack it out there. Because again, this can get all the way up to like 33%. And then, hey, you punch something, you're up close, bam, it's even more. And now you're doing 33% more damage. Subsistence giving you those bullets back a little bit more. So you got some cool options on this one just because perfect recoil direction on a 900 RPM. You can get a pretty solid range stat. It's not going to quite be like the Multi-Machina. It's the one from Iron Banner that you can't even get anymore. So again, this is a decent option if you pair this with something else because you're going to have Perpetual Motion, Killing Wind, and PvP is going to be able to let you put in some work. So it's actually pretty nice. If you really are good at killing somebody and then killing somebody else, you can mess with Harmony. But just the fact that you've got PvP options with Perpetual Motion, Killing Wind, running around, being just an absolute terror for anything that's close, and then PvE, Overflow, so you get 2 times the magazine, so you're literally up to almost like 80 bullets. Frenzy, 15% damage once you're in combat for a little while. And again, you can be in combat with another weapon out, and then once you know Frenzy's up to after about 10 or so seconds, you can switch over and then have the handling, the reload, and then the Frenzy just absolutely be lightning fast. Overflow and those 2 together, that's going to work really well. Subsistence probably would pair this more with Swashbuckler for the damage. Demolitionist I probably wouldn't do just because, unless you're killing a bunch of little stuff. If you're in like normal strikes and you got grenades going, Subsistence and Demolitionist, mowing down little enemies and like low level strikes, getting your grenade back constantly, you would just honestly be melting stuff, getting your grenade back, chunking it, reloading, Subsistence, killing more. Cool synergy. So all in all, just some very cool synergies that you can do with this weapon. And just all of the raid weapons are very cool. I'm not going to shout all of them out, but there are a couple in here just because they are pretty legit. So if you can get in there, the raid is honestly one of the cooler ones and definitely worth playing for these weapons. Now, we have 2 different bows. I like them both. Now, you guys probably know that I like bows. But with regards to Under Your Skin, the main perks on both of these bows that you can get are going to be Archer's Tempo and Successful Warm-Up. And then typically if you do like Elastic String and then draw time maxed out, you could probably go to something like Accuracy, or if you're going for other things, you've got a draw time that's insanely low, recoil direction is going to be solid, decent handling, and then if you really want to mess with things, you can either add damage or accuracy or anything else to this. But if you start getting precision hits to decrease your draw time and kills getting decreased in draw time, you can start clearing out ads, especially at mid-level content. Pretty powerful stuff that you can do. Reload speed and handling, Compact Arrow Shaft is going to be really solid. Accuracy if you want it. Stability I'm not too worried about because it's 1 draw at a time, so Compact's good for the stats that matter. And you can really put in some work. If you want to do Archer's Tempo and Explosive Head, also very cool. Archer's Tempo and Dragonfly, also, again, cool to explode heads. This is going to be a nice little, 11% damage bonus the entire time, which is legit. And then if you're going adaptive munitions, you need to deal with shields in a different way. You've got the option of Archer's Tempo, breaking the shields. and stacking that damage so you can break the shield easier and easier. And then once that stacks, now you're getting precision damage, and you're pretty much good to go. So it really depends on what you're facing. And also you have, of course, always on all of the risen weapons, you have land tank. If you get final blows, now you've got additional resilience and from both damage resistance and from combatants. So again, if you're killing stuff, these three together, you are firing fast and harder to kill. Both bows are very cool. The other one, the Fel Taradiddle, hilarious name. Draw time, again, max that thing out. Same thing, you can go for Elastic String. It has the quickest charge time. This thing is down to 540 for speed. Archer's Tempo, Successful Warm-Up. Again, these are here for a ton of fun. Archer's Tempo, Adrenaline Junkie. Start killing stuff, and now starting to stack that damage. If you're spreading, if you want something like Stats for All and One for All, not so beneficial here, theoretically. But you've also got the option of Archer's Tempo and One for All. Theoretically firing faster at 3 different targets, and then once that 3% those, kill 3 little targets, then you've got 35% damage to, take out, say, a bigger knight if you kill 3 thrall. Depends on how you phrase it, but again, Archer's Tempo, pretty much the main go-to for any bow. Successful Warm-Up is very fun to use, but you also have good damage stacking options here as well. Both bows are very cool, had to shout them both out, so that is number 8, both of your bows. Number 7 is going to be Sweet Sorrow. As I said, I don't love the Come to Pass auto rifle, but I love the way this one feels. It is a 720, so it's going to be a little faster. But you've got, throw a range masterwork on there, and then your options kind of open up quite a bit. Typically something like range and stability, it's going to benefit an auto rifle well because it feels good. It feels pretty tight, but I don't think 9 range is worth giving up something like 3 less range, but also getting some stability on there, so I like that one. Recoil direction is 57. This is almost one, if you put like counterbalance on there, you could theoretically get, a little tighter recoil. If you really want perfect recoil, you can technically get 100 recoil as well. Range can still be up there because I've got the range masterwork, and then you just want to go accurized rounds, but you've got 100 recoil direction, and it already feels good. This is not a bad way to go. If you go counterbalance and you go arrowhead break, max recoil, perfectly vertical, decent range, already solidly stable, and then we can get to the perks. You can go triple tap for DPS sake. You can start, pumping out some damage. And if you're doing triple tap, killing some enemies with like One for All, you could do triple tap and also Focus Fury, get more damage out of that one. And if you want to take this thing into PvP, it's going to be an interesting one, but you can do something like tap the trigger and perpetual motion, run it around, bonus stability and handling, bam, first time you fire the trigger, even ultra stable and even more accurate. So you've got some good options, and again, killing here with triple tap, One for All, or Focus Fury for PvE, and then land tank again, getting that resilience. The more enemies you kill, the better off you're going to be. I don't know if this is going to be a great weapon for things like high-level content, but for mid-level content, you're going to be able to mow some stuff down for sure. The number 6 is going to be Peace of Mind. Now, we're back to the pulse rifles again, but for me, pulse rifles are one of my favorites. A little faster pulse rifle here, but again, the risen weapons, I'm digging on a lot of these because of how they feel. Range for this one because the stabilities aren't in the middle, and it does feel pretty good, already fairly stable. Small bore, again, putting in some work. The recoil direction, you can help here if you want to with the arrowhead break, but if it feels good. Again, some of these things, like, do you want stability? Because you're on controller. Do you not care so much about stability? Then you could go with arrowhead break. Would you prefer the range and stability? That's why you do this one. If you want more stability, you could go polygonal rifling. However you say it, it's up to you. But from there, okay, you want some more range. This is great. This is where ricochet rounds really kicks things out. Now, more stability, more range, stability at range. And if you want to do the give and take of like perfect, almost near middle recoil, then you're good to go. Over here on the perks, you also have some decent options. Depends on what you're using this for, but pulse rifles also pair well this season for unstoppable champions. So you do have Vorpal there, if you're going to put a little work in on that one, for instance. Not so much the weapon you're going to use to kill the champion, but stunning it, you theoretically could. But mainly, you're going to be dealing with something like Overflow and Adrenaline Junkie. Going to have a whole lot of bullets here, because you're going to have about 70 in the magazine if you pick up ammo. And then Adrenaline Junkie, you can start mowing down ads and then start stacking that damage, or throw a grenade, and then you're already at 33% more. If you want to be a little more on the consistent side of things, you've got the option of moving target and perpetual motion in PvP. This is one of the main reasons I wanted to point this out. Solid range, solid stability and handling, really solid recoil direction. And then if you are moving, which most of the time people never want to exactly stand still, if you are always moving, 10 stability, 20 handling, and 20 reload. That's when this thing stacks up to 2 once you're moving for 10 seconds. And if you're already moving, increased movement speed and target acquisition while aim down sight. So still moving, and then your aim down sight strafing with high mobility, you're putting in some work. So peace of mind, some decent PvE options with like Overflow and Adrenaline Junkie, but the PvP situation, perpetual motion and literally moving all the time, it's what you want to do. And you kill somebody, you're harder to kill. So it's a very cool weapon for both PvP and PvE, but PvP, I think some people are going to be putting in some work with this one for sure. We got 2 craftable rocket launchers. I think the favorite is the Palmyra-B. This is the Stasis rocket launcher, and the main thing that you're going to be looking at here is the 2 main traits. Now, when it comes to Palmyra-B, you've got an option to where your masterwork could be, different depending on what you do, because you've got 2 different options. You can either go auto-loading holster, and literally almost every one of these perks is going to add damage, which is insane. Except Choke Clip. That's about the only one, but that's again more for slowing down ads, which I haven't really seen if that's going to be mostly beneficial. There's another weapon that uses it better, so we'll get there in a minute. But again, if you're literally running around whatever you're doing and you're in combat long enough, Frenzy is just on. Auto-loading holster, switch over, it's already loaded, fire your rocket that has 15% extra damage, and then put it away, run around, it's loaded again, and if you're still in combat doing stuff, bam, still good to go. So that's a good thing. You've got auto-loading holster and lasting impression. Bigger blast radius. Now, lasting impression, some people love and hate, but it is that 25% extra damage. It just takes 3 seconds to explode. But as this is an auto-tracking rocket, or a tracking rocket with auto-loading holster and lasting impression, literally run around and be immobile in a boss room. Switch over. You've already got the rocket in the chamber. Tracking, you're going to fire it. Lasting impression, switch off. Run to cover. Whatever you got to do. It explodes. You get more damage. And it's reloaded by the time you get that next one out. So if you're managing ads and a boss, that works very well. You've also got Ambitious Assassin. So if you kill enemies with this thing, with something like, I don't know, any of these options, Adrenaline Junkie, probably not really the one you're going to go for. It's about the only option, but again, they're all damage stacking. Explosive Light. Picking up orbs, now you get that 25% damage bonus, and you don't have to wait on it. So again, if you pick it up, look, you've killed things. Now when you reload, theoretically, this is when reload speed might be more important, but handling is really what you probably want on a rocket, so we'll cover that in a minute. But Ambitious, now you have 2, and if you picked up orbs, the next projectile is still going to do more damage. Or if you want to make sure you kill stuff, guess what? Chain reaction. Have things explode, make sure you kill things, and then you've also got Ambitious Assassin, you've got 2 to fire. So you've got some really cool ways to mess with this rocket launcher. And then if you want decent handling, recoil direction, nobody cares. Stability, nobody cares. Velocity, not that important. Main thing you're looking for is the biggest handling boost that you can. Who cares about recoil direction on a rocket? Biggest thing you're looking for is handling, so you can bring the rocket launcher out and ready it up and then put it away. The faster you can do that, the better. So the biggest boost you got here is a quick launch. And then if you come over here, you've got alloy casing. So if you do need to get to reloads, like say with Ambitious Assassin, a little less stability, which nobody cares about, and you've got faster reloads to go with that. So handling, reload speed, and then lots of options here between both auto-loading and Ambitious Assassin. So you could craft this one and toy around with so many different perk options, see which ones you like, and even something like Quick Access Sling for faster ready and slow speed. And then you've got Hake, increased damage against vehicles, turrets, barricades, and stasis crystals. Need to shoot a tank? Probably going to do some work. So that's the Palmyra-B, very versatile rocket launcher. Next, we come to the Explosive Personality. This is the Risen Wave Frame Grenade Launcher. It's a special grenade launcher. Now, there's also the Forbearance. I'm going to cover that real fast, just because it's a raid weapon. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But the fact that you can get Ambitious Assassin with a Wave Frame Grenade Launcher, if you shoot the wave frame and you kill multiple people, you'll have 2 grenades. And then you get the options of One for All for 35% damage, Rampage for 33% damage, depending on how many you kill. You could have potentially 2 in the chamber to fire straight away, or Chain Reaction to cause some fun explosions. This one is a lot of fun, but I know the raid is going to be harder for people to come by, but I did want to mention very cool things that you can do here with Ambitious Assassin, Chain, Rampage, and One for All. Very interesting damage possibilities on that one. But back to the one I was actually really talking about, because this one's actually pretty solid, and it's just from the season. So you've got a lot of different options here as well, depending on what you're going for, its purpose. It's a solar grenade launcher. Genesis and Disruption Break, they pair well together. You break a shield, they're more vulnerable to kinetic damage. Then you could put some kinetic damage in on them. So you could even switch over to like a primary and put some work in. Genesis, oh, you've broken the shield with an energy weapon and it matched? Well, now you have another grenade. Fire it again. That's cool. Those are a fun little combo. Probably not the best, though. Field prep. More reserves. Always a nice thing. Faster reload when you're crouched if you're good at the crouching. And you can do field prep paired with, you know, whatever you prefer. Feeding Frenzy. Getting rapid kills with a wave frame grenade launcher. The wave literally passes through, so if you got a group of ads coming at you, this is almost going to be instantaneous. You've got Frenzy, so if you're doing other stuff, you're good. You've also got auto-loading holster and Frenzy. Auto-loading holster, oh, you're in the middle of the fight. Oh, you know the auto-loading holster's up. Switch over. You've got your 15% damage up because you're already in the middle of combat. Fire that one out there, and then wait for that thing to reload all on its own. Also, the other side, you've got one for all. Kind of the same principle that I would probably put with Feeding Frenzy. Feeding Frenzy. You only have to hit 3 enemies to get the 35% damage. If you kill one of them, you got a little better reload speed. Then if you fire again, once you've reloaded, now you're going to do more damage with 35% more damage. Probably kill something. Reload faster as well. If you don't trust Feeding Frenzy to get your kills, you could literally like crouch or slide and have a faster reload while you're crouched as well. Again, the wave frame grenade launchers, the wave frame grenade for my Titan, I love. I can't wait till Solar opens that up to everybody. You guys are probably going to love that too. But the grenade launchers do that very similarly. Just as soon as it hits the ground, a wave of damage in front of them. You don't have as many options here. I would honestly probably do reload speed so you can manage that one. Don't really look to give up much blast radius. But again, down here, recoil direction, not really a big deal. Handling, probably a good thing. So if you can find handling and blast radius, that would probably be the best option. So again, here we've got blast radius and stability, losing some blast radius. I would probably go with the 9 handling just for a little bit. The velocity, stability, handling. Handling's the important one. If you think the blast radius is too small, you could bump that up. It says plus 15, but this isn't moving. So again, website could be a little funky. But if that doesn't feel right, just go for smart drift control, get you some handling. I think that's the highest handling. Handling's 14 here, so quick launch would be an option as well. And so you can do a lot of different things with this. And guess what? Handling, bam. Now you're almost maxed handling with this one right here. Reload speed could be an option too if you're trying to do that one. But handling, also putting in some work. Quick access sling. You can do a lot of work on this one. And again, if you have handling and then say auto-loading holster, the amount of time it's going to take you to bring that thing out, fire, and put it away, no time at all. So like auto-loading with that, frenzy with this, mess around with this grenade launcher. It's going to have some major potential for clearing mid to low level ads, especially depending on how the damage starts stacking. Enjoy it. It's going to be a fun one. Now, I'm guessing most of you have this fusion rifle because it's one of the early ones that you unlock. This is one you are going to want to put a little effort into because it's got some really cool potential. Right now, everybody's running around in PvP with fusion rifles, which is fine because the main ingredient is there. This one fires faster, though. So depending on if you're with close enough range, you're going to be able to outshoot the other person because you can actually charge it quicker. And you can get some interesting combinations with this one because Firmly Planted does a lot. If you are willing to like slide around a corner, if you're willing to crouch getting ready for somebody to come at you, increased accuracy, stability, which is really good for all the little bolts that come out of a fusion rifle to be nice and tight. Then you're going to have accuracy cone much smaller, accuracy cone growth much smaller, and then the recoil yaw, basically it's the horizontal recoil, also fairly tight. This thing is going to fire like nearly a laser beam. Now you got options to pair this thing up with. In PvP, successful warm-up, you get a kill with that first one, now you got about 10 seconds, maybe a little longer if you enhance it, but I'm still not loving on most of the enhanced benefits. Go run around, your next kill, gonna fire even faster, and if you slide in, it's gonna be really tight. You want some range or stability? You might go a little range on this one, and then a little small bore on this one to push it out. Like, the stability bonus is nice, but I would probably take the range and get a little stability here. Keep stability on this one, or if you feel like it's not far enough, but I would probably take the stability to tighten up that cone, and then you can go targeting adjuster. This will do some work in PvP, I promise you. PvE, I don't know if I love this thing as much in PvE. Now, granted, fusion rifle, you can spray to low-level ads. Stats for all and one for all. Hitting 3 enemies with a fusion rifle, generally never that difficult to do. And then I would probably do something just like so you can start melting stuff. Handling or charge time, just so you can manage the weapon a little better. Charge time does lower the impact a little bit, so be careful about that one. But again, if you hit 3 enemies, you got weapon handling, stability, reload, and range. Those all just got boosted. Now, one for all, you got 35% damage. So if you can just like take that first shot and kind of spray it on a group of enemies, your next shot that you fire, especially if this thing's already a pretty fast charge time in the first place, you're going to be putting out some damage again as well. So decent PvE option, but I would say the PvP option is even better if you can really put some work on this one. I promise you. Crouching and firing or learning to practice like sliding. I'm not as good at that as I wish I was, but the people who are good, especially, slide in, get that kill. That next kill is just going to delete somebody in no time at all with successful warm-up. So Likely Suspect has some strong potential in PvP. If you are close enough range, it's going to do some work. Now, my number 2 is Deliverance. Now, why is this one here? The main reason this is here is because it is a fusion rifle, and you can do a lot of work with fusion rifles in PvE and PvP, but it's in the kinetic slot. It's in the top slot. So now your energy slot is open for so many other things. So if you like fusion rifles, you really never had an option except Bastion, which was an exotic. Now that you have this one, yes, it comes from the raid, but honestly, it's not that hard to get it because even you don't have to get to the final encounter like you're trying to get Lubre's Ruin. This one comes from the easier encounters by a good margin, especially the first one. So your options here, again, stability, range, handling. Stability is going to tighten up the cone. Range is solid already, so you're pretty good there. If you want a little tightness on accuracy, you want a little bit more magazine. Honestly, this one, if you take it to PvE, I would be looking at damage perks more than anything. But when you get over here, you've got some interesting options. You're going to have something like Perpetual Motion and Tap the Trigger. That in and of itself, running at them, and then if you can get that while moving, still your first shot is going to be pretty accurate, which is pretty cool. Then you're going to have the option of Compulsive Reloader and Chill Clip. Direct hits with the top half of the magazine cause a detonation that slows nearby targets. Greatly increases the reload speed when close to the full magazine. Basically, it's the top half. Both of these together, top half of your magazine, reload. If you get to the middle of the magazine, reload. You're good to go. Now, you've also got Successful Warm-Up here. Pretty cool one. Successful warm-up with Perpetual Motion. If you're running along, you get a kill. The next kill, it's going to be a lot faster. Now, it's slower. This is one of those precision frames. This is like main ingredient. But if you get that first kill, and then you're running, maybe you get a reload, whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to have that second shot way faster than the second person. Again, throw some stability, or if you want range, either option is going to be good. Nice little balance of both. And you've got a pretty potent little weapon here. The other option, of course, Adrenaline Junkie. If you could throw a grenade, get some damage. Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie. These work insanely well together because of what you can do pairing these things together. There's not a lot of things that can do this. Kills with this weapon grant grenade energy. When you throw your grenade and you get a kill, you instantly get the 5% damage. Kills with this weapon grant grenade energy. When you throw your grenade, it's reloaded. The perpetual uptime between your grenades and this weapon is going to be just absolutely crazy. So you can also do some good work there. Probably more PvE, but I'm sure some chaotic person can just terrorize a lobby in PvP. So yeah, a Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie, very, very good for PvE. Perpetual Motion, Tap the Trigger, gonna do some work as well. And then Compulsive Reloader and Chill Clip. 3 completely different playstyles, all very cool alternatives. Now, number 1. And that weapon is Insidious. If you know me at all, you know I enjoy 4 burst pulse rifles. These things hit hard, their range is really solid. I put work in PvP. Like, on my PvP, when I've got a mid-range map, I love these things. Pretty solid recoil direction. You could literally max that out if you want to. It's not even necessary. But I just love the way these feel, their utility, and then on top of that, the perks that this thing got are just fantastic. So, let's go over them. First thing, you got solid range, but if you want it even farther, you can get 86 range. Then you can go 95 range. And, oh, we found max range. So that alone, 70 stability with max range. That's kind of amazing. You want to go recoil direction? You can throw counterbalance on there because you damn sure don't need range on it. So now this thing's going to already be a laser in PvP. Cool. PvP options on this one. Not really as much of what it's for, but you can still put some work in PvP. What would I use in PvP on this one? Honestly, probably rapid hit, because every bullet hit is going to count for one of these. So if you hit all 4, or even if you hit like 2 or 3, you're already getting better stability and reload speed. And then you can either do Rampage if you get the kill, Adrenaline Junkie if you like your grenade, it's up to you. So PvP, you got some options. If you don't feel like you need 100 range, which you theoretically don't, you've got some other options. Say you want to do some work on some enemies. Minor spec. You want some more stability. And then from here, I do like accurized rounds, but I typically like tactical mag. It's nice and versatile. Boost the reload speed a little bit. You can do some very cool stuff. Dragonfly and Rampage. Never seen that before. It may have happened on other weapons, but that alone, killing enemies, causing them to explode, doing more damage. What a wonderful cycle that would be. Stats for all and one for all. Maybe you're just spreading the love around, and then once you shoot 3 targets, then you got that damage. Adaptive munitions. I'm still learning to figure out if this is really worth it, but the fact that it has it as an option, definitely one of the main reasons I want this to be my crafted weapon. When I go into the raid and I beat the final boss, at the end of that boss, you have the option to like choose what you want to buy. And once each week, as long as you've earned the weapon one time, you can then buy a deep sight version of that weapon. I finally got one of these, and every week I beat that first boss. You can buy it once a week per account. I am going to buy Insidious every week until I get this thing unlocked, because the options here are amazing, and I love the way it feels. So, very, very cool stuff here. Then, we're also going to have a couple other options. You've got Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie again. So that's a very, very cool combination. And you also, if you just want to like mess around with some other things, you could do, you know, a couple different options. But like Rapid Hit, always very good. DPS options, Dragonfly, Rampage, Adrenaline Junkie. Adrenaline Junkie with Demolitionist. Excuse me. Rapid Hit with probably Rampage for mostly what I would guess to be your PvP option. And then gain health based on the number of hits before reloading. All of the raid weapons have Soul Drinker as an origin trait. It's not going to be the biggest boost to health, but if you get some kills and then you reload, little bump of health going into your next battle. Not a bad thing. So this is my #1 weapon. This is the main thing I am trying to craft from the raid. I got one to drop, so every week, if nothing else, if I beat the final boss one time, I'm going to eventually be able to craft this thing, and that is my goal. So if you all enjoyed this video, please drop a like below. This one took a minute to put together. If you can click on that link down below in the description for the sponsor, that's a nice way to support me without having to do too much else. If you do want to find me on Twitter, it's Ebontis streaming, which I'll probably be streaming a lot of Elden Ring outside of Destiny stream days. That game I am in love with right now. And if you want to find me here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell. And those of you who are YouTube channel members or Patreon subscribers, thank you for that extra support. All of you are rock stars, and I'll see you soon.